I was so Craig.
What is up, Craig?
All right, guys, welcome back to Spectated. This is the whopping episode 5.
Wow,
I know,
episode 5 already.
crazy, right? 5 weeks
Yes,
already
sir.
of the show.
Yes, sir.
As mentioned at the end of last week's episode, we're going to be talking about Moon Knight and best comic book movies. But before we get into that, I totally forgot that the NFL was going to publish the schedule for the week or for the season, and they did that yesterday. Yeah. So I just wanted
hit us up with the spicy matchups.
Yeah, the opening game for the 2022 NFL season is the Rams versus the Buffalo Bills.
It's gonna be so good.
I think that's a Super Bowl game already, right there.
Yeah, basically, because Rams are coming off, their win, and Bills are, arguably the best team, or one of the best teams. So
yeah,
that's just a great game right off the bat.
These are the two teams that I listed as most likely to advance to the Super Bowl. Which I think it's so cool that it's the first game of the season. We're gonna get to see those two like superpower teams kind of go at each other.
Yeah.
And then other than that, like week 1, there's revenge games. Like we have the Broncos with Russell Wilson versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, that's fun. That's gonna be really fun too.
There's a lot to look forward to in this season. Like not even just
do Seahawks have their quarterback yet or no?
They're going with Drew Lock, who was with the Broncos last year. Who they traded.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's see if
that's kind of funny. They kind of switched.
Yeah. Let's see if there's other noticeable teams here, or notable teams rather.
Who's the what do Browns got week 1?
The Panthers. Steelers, Bengals, so and then Patriots, Dolphins. Yeah. So there's a couple of division games here. Yeah. Any other like ones here? Packers, Vikings, another.
Yeah, another conference one.
Ooh, Raiders, division Chargers, one. Two also extremely powerful teams this year.
Be pretty good.
And then, the Cowboys are once again stuck going against the Buccaneers in their first game.
GG, boys.
It's okay. It's the Cowboys' year. It's the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're winning it all.
I love easy. I absolutely love that. Every single year, it's the Cowboys' year because they never look bad. They always look pretty good, but then they just play all right.
Yeah.
Every year, it's the Cowboys.
They're America's team.
They are
America's team.
Strictly average.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just literally the definition of average.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Here, I'm looking here just to make sure there's not any more. Yeah, not really. I think the two most notable ones are Broncos, Seahawks, and then obviously the first game with Bills, Rams.
Yeah, I think that's such a good opening game.
I think that might be the game of the season, honestly.
One of, easily.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's probably going to be some,
other really
Bucks versus
Bucks Chiefs in October.
Like Bucks versus people. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like Bucks Chiefs. I'm sure Bills will have some matchups with some other great teams too. I'm not exactly. I don't know who they have in their schedule.
Yeah,
Rams might have some good matchups too.
Yeah, I'm looking here. There's definitely some other good, like really good matchups. But that one is just like a huge standout, and for it to be the first is really cool. Ooh, Packers.
Yeah, and I feel like that would set a good precedent for the season too. You know,
Yeah.
like whichever team wins that, I feel like they're gonna feel really good going into the rest of
Probably.
the season. You know,
Probably.
like
That
they won probably what's going to be their hardest normal season game. Like whatever team wins and just win that off the bat. That's got to feel
Yeah,
really good.
that'll be a huge, especially for the Rams, it'd be a huge morale boost if they win the Super Bowl, take a break, and then come back and win their first game against the Bills.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would set them up, like, you know, to dominate regular season.
Yeah, and then later in October, there's Packers Bills. It's also a really good looking game.
That's gonna be decent too.
Rams Buccaneers.
Another good one.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Bucks Chiefs, good.
Yeah, Bucks Chiefs. The best one, Bills Lions.
True.
Lions taking it all.
And then I mean, obviously, you know, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, Ravens, all of those games are gonna be
they're gonna
pretty good.
Those divisional games are all gonna be like so contested.
Yeah, just because that division is just, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, but I'm in the AFC
It is just
West.
too. Yeah, it is just too difficult, man. I feel so bad for them.
I know. The Browns kind of like, I feel so bad for Baker, but like with the quarterback situation and stuff they were getting and like the roles that were being filled, they needed to step up to compete with the AFC. Because it's crazy. Ooh, Bills Bengals.
I mean, yeah, no, just AFC North. It's so tough. Oh, that'll be pretty good too. But yeah, I think that's by far going to be, I think, the most fun, like, division specific to watch.
Yeah, probably
would be AFC North, just because they are fighting for so much there. Like those division games mean so much.
Yeah, they do. And then like last season, the two teams that were like everyone was saying either the Browns or the Ravens were going to be top in the division, and the other one were going to be second. And then what ended up happening was Browns were third and Ravens were fourth. They're coming off with some chips on their shoulders.
Yeah. It's like, you know, they're going third and fourth, and neither was a bad team, which is what's insane too. Like both of them were solid.
They were both very, very injured,
crazy.
And it literally killed their chances. They got so beat up. That being said, I think we should just go ahead and dive right into the
let's just fucking jump into yes, sir. Moon Knight, best comic book movies.
Moon Knight.
We kicking off with Moon Knight.
Yeah.
What? Give me your thoughts, just general things.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start with letting my grading scale be known, because like it's very particular, but I have found what I find to be the best grading scale for me, right? So I have 7 categories, right? And they're all on a scale of 1 to 10 that I rank the movie on. And then at the end, the total that the movie or show got are divided by 70, because 70 is the max you can get. And then that's the percentage. Sure, these categories are the characters, the plot, cinematography, soundtrack, acting, costuming, and overall enjoyability. If movies like 100, like 90% to 100, it's either perfect or near perfect. 89 to 80 is phenomenal. 79 to 70 is good. 69 to 60 is decent. 59 to 50 is watchable. 49 to 40 is bad. 39 to 30 is awful. 29 to 0 is avoid like plague.
Okay, I like it.
So going right into Moon Knight, I give it a 77%. It's really good.
Okay, yeah.
It is good. It is watchable. I would go back and rewatch it. Episode 1, 2, and 5 I thought were all really, really good. Then episode 6 was okay, but Spoiler. I'm gonna
Okay.
throw the spoiler disclaimer out here now because this is where
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my
We
spoilers.
will be discussing spoilers, guys. So if you haven't seen the show, don't listen to this part. Try to, watch the show and then come back, listen to this. Or if you want to skip ahead another, 20, 30 minutes or so into the comic book movies to avoid any spoilers there, to jump later in the podcast. Okay, continue on.
Episode 6 was really dragged down by its giant signature MCU CGI fight.
Oh, I literally had that written
did
down
we really
too.
need
Like, the
did we
exact
really
same
need
thing.
that again?
It was so lame to me. Like, I just did not care.
It felt like Jake brought this up, and it's a really good point. It felt like Marvel executives made that have to be a thing because it felt out of place too. Like, why are they?
It was so weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't understand, but the post credit scene of episode 6 really is what it brought it back up. Where
Sure, yeah.
slacked.
Just because setting up for
more.
But
episode 5 that was a peak MCU moment right there. I absolutely loved episode 5 where they go through.
Really,
they go through his memories and stuff.
Okay.
But some of the things go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna give my overview too, then. But yeah. I don't know if you wanted to break it down episode by episode or just kind of keep it overview, but I'll just give my quick overview really quick, and then we can go into more specific things. So I just on a normal out of 10 scale, I would probably give it a 6. I think, because it definitely was hyped up. I think more than it should have been. I thought it was going to be a lot better. Not saying it's bad. It's definitely very solid, and I enjoyed watching it. For me, it was like the first 3 episodes I thought were awesome. Especially the first 2, I think, were just awesome. Probably 8 out of 10. Yeah. Really good. Really enjoyed it. After episode 3, basically once they got started going to Egypt and going down that rabbit hole kind of thing, that's when the show started falling off for me. So I did not like episode 4. I thought it was pretty bad. And honestly, I was not that big of a fan of episode 5. Really? I liked the character development portion, but the rest of it, I just didn't really like, and I thought it was just really, really confusing. Yeah. And it was just hard to follow. It definitely ruined the enjoyability portion for me. Because I liked it early where it was the fucking cuts and the action, it was sick, and then it was just that was just gone. Yeah, the character development is really what amplified episode 5. The entire show is a character study. Yeah. And episode 5 really was the biggest character study and development episode. And that was what I liked most about it, and what I really liked about it, and seeing Steven and Mark kind of interact with each other more. I like it from that aspect, as a character development. But my thing is, if we're going off things your scale or whatever, where the enjoyability or the soundtrack and stuff, things that I was enjoying heavily of the early episodes just were gone in episode 5. So it just felt too much. It felt like it was just too much at once. You know what I mean? Where it's just I like the character development, but I wish that had been spread out a little bit instead of basically all packed into one episode was my issue. Where it was really confusing and hard to follow, and I wish it was unfolded over a longer period of time. Because it was just a lot at once, and it was kind of
really
hard to watch.
The things about it that brought up the series as a whole for me were really 3 of the characters, Khonshu, Mark, and Steven, And then Oscar Isaac absolutely carried with acting.
No, yeah, he
Like
was
those
far
things
the best character.
like really brought it up. And then like I had said, like those earlier episodes and then enjoying character studies. I gave the enjoyability like an 8 out of 10. There were definitely moments I did not find enjoyable. Like I honestly can't even remember any of episode 3 or really much of episode 4 other than the fact that Mark got shot. Like I cannot remember a single thing other than that. So like
no, I think episode like 1 is the best. I think that was sick because you're like you don't know what the fuck's going on. He just keeps like flipping out, and just waking up. There's just blood everywhere. Everything's crazy. Like I thought that was really, really cool because you just don't know what's going on, but it felt like really enjoyable. Oscar Isaac, I think that was when he was like peak in acting, when it was just like full on Steven and like just freaking out. I thought it like that was just really good. That was by far my
ending
favorite
too,
episode.
the cliffhanger of when he became Moon Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick too.
Yeah, I loved episode 1.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it's nowhere near perfect. It is just it's good and it has a lot of potential to go from here. Like Moon Knight's interactions with Spider-Man and stuff and the comics are always hilarious. And I can legitimately see them fitting in with the MCU. Especially with like Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to go with from here.
I guess we can just talk about that ending then too. Like kind of crazy. Cuz they they throw in, spoiler warning again. They throw in, what was the name of the
Jake
character?
Lockley. Jake Lockley.
Jack something.
Yeah.
Or Jake Lockley. Yeah. They threw that in the end. Like, I mean, they hinted at it obviously at the one fight scene where neither Mark nor Steven knew what was going on. So, like, obviously there was, some third person in there. But I'm wondering, I guess, did they hint at that during the rest of the season?
I think them saying that.
Or was that just kind of dropped in episode 6?
Like, but first, like you had said, when they were like, neither of them knew who killed those people. Second, I think when they were dead and in the afterlife, when the 2 pieces of the heart, it still wasn't complete. I felt like that was a nod towards Jake too, because there's 3 personalities, and so it was incomplete. Because Jake is still alive.
That I thought was cool, but it's like I wonder like what they're gonna do with that, right? Because now I guess they themselves, it seems like they're setting up where they themselves are the bad guy, but also like the good guy. You know what I mean? Like Steven and Mark, are like quote unquote the good guy, right?
Jake is like an anti-hero.
Now Jake and Khonshu are kind of seems like they're gonna be the next bad guy, but like that's gonna be really hard to execute, I feel, but it could be really awesome too. Like there's gonna be some sick scenes, I think.
Yeah, I think that after credit was really cool.
I am surprised they just killed Harrow like that too. I did not think they were just gonna just pull up and kill him. I thought he was gonna come back.
Jake went, nah, I'm gonna be a menace. Cause like Jake in the comics is the Black Air Force energy personality. So he pulled up he had that Black Air Force energy. Went, nah, today's your turn to lose.
Yeah, he just said fuck it.
Yeah.
No, I just thought like it was so funny because they just like wheel him out so slowly and peacefully. I'm like, oh, they're just breaking him out. Okay. Like it was just whatever. And then he just like, oh, okay, he's just dead. Like I thought they were trying to set up like it seemed at first to me like they were just trying to set up that Harrow was gonna come back as like Khonshu's avatar. And then Jake just is like, fuck you, Lozo.
And he pulled up with
like
that
crazy.
that Bentley
I liked it a lot.
limousine. Dude's loaded.
Yeah, it was sick. But yeah, no, I think the ending definitely carried episode 6. Though going back to that, where it was like the rest of the episode, it had its good moments, of course, but the Khonshu versus Ahmet like CGI fight, like I don't know, I don't really like unless the movie is specifically built around the big monsters or whatever. I don't care for it. You know what I mean? Like Godzilla, I like the big Godzilla's fighting, but like this. It just felt out of
really
place.
did.
It felt really weird.
How do you feel like it? How do you feel like Moon Knight compared to other MCU TV shows? Like not the movies, just the shows.
I yeah, I haven't really watched that many because none of them interested me too much. So I don't know if I can really like compare because the only one I watched a lot of was Agents of Shield. And I thought that show was okay
still
at
MCU?
first.
I don't. Oh,
But then I mean, fell off really
yeah,
hard.
It
definitely was. It definitely was at one point because it
Disney
tied into Winter
Plus
Soldier.
wise with the shows.
But
the way I would rank them is, I think I'd put Falcon and Winter Soldier on top, and then Moon Knight.
That's what I heard.
I hear so many people go WandaVision. I'm like, that one's got to be my second to least favorite.
Yeah, that's like the one that I wanted to just avoid because it just seemed like I was not going to enjoy it. And after seeing Doctor Strange, I am definitely not watching it.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I mean, it's not the place to talk about it here right now.
No,
but yeah,
I was
disappointed.
I don't even have to watch it. I saw enough on like people like post on TikTok, and I'm the type of person that like I'm not gonna go out of my way to look for spoilers, but if I see them, I'm not gonna turn away. You know what I mean? Because like if you save me money,
it was not good.
Yeah,
it was not good. But yeah, so going back is like that. I'm probably, if that's any reflection of how Wanda was portrayed in the show,
all right, I heard
definitely would not enjoy the show.
That it should have been called Scarlet Witch. Do you agree with that? Yeah.
The Doctor Strange movie?
Was it more Wanda than it was Doctor Strange?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. But yeah, it's hard to say. Like it wasn't good. It wasn't good. That's all I have to say about that. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Maybe we can come back. Yeah, it's been weird. But yeah, back to the show. I think Moon Knight was the only one that like caught my interest enough to actually watch it all the way through. Because everything else has just seemed like just kind of okay. I might go back and watch Falcon Winter Soldier because I do like Bucky a lot.
That's the one I really enjoyed.
So I've heard it's pretty good. So yeah, I heard it was pretty good. So I think that I'll probably end up watching
Falcon and Zemo is real.
Yeah, it's I want to see that Zemo.
So good, and it's very chaotic. It's really enjoyable. I really liked it. But then there's people who talk about like they're like it's a straight white male movie, and it's like how it's literally about a black man trying to come into to fill the shoes of a role that so many people have deemed because he's not Steve Rogers, he can't. Like,
no, that's
how do you get like that from them being against the fact that a person with blonde hair and blue eyes replaced Steve Rogers who had blonde hair and blue eyes. Like I don't understand where that take comes from. I feel like it was just because this came right after WandaVision and that has Mommy Wanda.
I feel like that's just some really, really bad, like Marvel stands take
some
or
Wanda
something.
stands.
There's no way.
They're like, oh
yeah.
I feel like
Definitely
after
weird.
that, like the MCU has shifted so much after WandaVision had like that such huge base watching it that it did that they just want to appeal to obviously there's exceptions like Falcon and Winter Soldier and Moon Knight and stuff like that, but
how was
it was
What If? I heard it was not good. Like that it was interesting, but like it just like interesting in concept.
I think
just
there's
not that
like
good because it
9
doesn't
episodes or
compare to
so,
like
something like that.
actual
Let's say there's 10. If there's 10, there's 4 episodes that are notable.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite.
That's what I heard.
WandaVision's my
Yeah. That's what most people said. But yeah, I mean, I think Moon Knight was pretty good, like overall. Especially, I mean, you know me, like after Endgame, I've kind of checked out of Marvel, like more so. You know what I mean? Like I'm definitely I'm seeing the big movies still. Like I'm gonna go watch most of the big movies, but I've like kind of checked out of being like I was a pretty big Marvel fan. Like what would watch every movie, watch like all the after credits and like trying to like think, oh, what are they gonna do next? And I was really into it, kind of like emotionally invested. And after Endgame, it was just like it felt like it was like that was my investment. Like Infinity War Endgame that's my investment getting paid off, right? Like it's just kind of hard to get reinvested again, so I've kind of checked out. But yeah, I think Moon Knight's probably just my second favorite Marvel thing since Endgame. I think in general, other than No Way Home, it's probably my second favorite just Marvel thing in general since then.
Back to it's post Endgame has just been like weirdly inconsistent in terms of enjoyability, because like back to Multiverse of Madness people are going, oh, it's better than the Batman, DC sucks, Multiverse of Madness is better. It's like, no, it's not. It's nowhere even close, dude. Don't even try that. It's like the Batman. Like I'm
not gonna get into it, but
the Batman is not a perfect movie or anything by any means, but it is leagues above that.
No, definitely has its issues. 100%, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't see how you compare one of the best with one of the most just meh.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope Marvel can like get back on track, but I just don't see how they could at this point, Like it just seems like after Endgame, they're kind of just going down a lot of random rabbit holes and storylines, and it just feels like really fan servicey now,
kind of like
more
Star
so
Wars.
than it did. Where instead of like developing the characters, it just feels like they're trying to pander. Yeah, exactly. It's just like the new trilogy, whereas like episode 7 was, it was good. Like I enjoyed episode 7. It was a good place to reintroduce fans, but then it just kind of became bad and like fan servicey and just nothing good or plot wise was actually happening well. It was all just like fan service, and it doesn't really, it makes the plot terrible
I agree.
or like the dialogue terrible, because fan service just doesn't really work when you're trying to make a great movie. Like it can work, and I think it is good to have it, but when that's what your main focus is on, yeah, I think it makes the movie bad.
I
And that
think
seems
the
like the
only
path that
films I'm
Marvel has
gonna
been
really
going
pay
down.
a bunch of attention to is in the MCU are like Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America characters, you know, Winter Soldier, new Captain America movies. Other than that, I mean,
Sure, yeah.
I don't really care that much, especially because like I was really
Yeah.
looking forward to Doctor Strange because I really like Doctor Strange, but then like
Yeah, I thought the first movie was
and I love Doctor
thoroughly
Strange in like
entertaining.
in
It was
Infinity
pretty
War
decent.
and in
I thought it
Endgame.
was pretty good.
I really liked him in those and in Thor Ragnarok, but like I
Yeah,
don't know.
no,
I don't know.
definitely a good character.
It's really disappointing that Sam Raimi had to direct this one.
Yeah, I felt like he was given kind of a bad. Like I don't know how much of it he had influence over, because like some of the cinematography stuff was really good, but like the
CGI.
plot, the
If you look at the
dialogue
CGI for more than like 2
was just
seconds, it looks awful.
Yeah, see, like it was just not good.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
about to
yeah, do you
say.
want to just? I mean, it seems like we're already transitioning that way. Do you want to jump into
Yeah.
best
Yeah,
comic
let's go
book
ahead and dive right into it. We
movies?
talked about some of the worst.
So how do you want to break it down? Do you want to just go
Do
movie
I
by
can
movie? Do you want
I was about
to?
to say I can start with my list.
You want to just go back and
Okay,
forth,
yeah.
maybe? Let's just go back and forth. Here, let's do it
All right.
back and forth. So you give me a movie, we'll talk about it.
So
I'll give a movie, and we'll just keep
this
going
is
until
going off
we've
of the same grading
exhausted.
scale as that I did for Moon Knight. Just to reiterate, throw that out there. At number 1, there's actually a tie, but I put the slight edge into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's on
Yeah,
my list too. Like I really like that. That was one of the two I was gonna say that I
yeah,
think
it
were
is. I put it as
like
an
above the
86. I
rest
put it as
on my list.
phenomenal, but like other than like a few issues I have with some character designs,
Yeah.
and then like the plot being a little basic. The plot, it was like above average. It is almost like a perfect movie.
Yep.
Like the animation amazing, soundtrack amazing, characters amazing, the
No,
acting.
I
mean,
completely
Nick
agree.
Cage is Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think literally, yeah, soundtrack is basic, like perfect. Animation definitely like 10 out of 10 perfect. Casting really great. Yeah, I think really the only issues was like just a couple like plot things were just kind of boring or meh. And there was like like a couple like character things or like just random weird dialogue things that are just
I could
not that funny, I guess, or just kind of fell flat, but that's about it.
yeah, I could
But the rest
hold
of them
like the
like
whole Prowler
phenomenal.
is the uncle of Spider-Man thing against him, and like he finds out and freaks out. You know, I could hold it against them, but like first of all, the soundtrack of when Miles finds out who the Prowler is just peak. And then
It was so good.
I know, dude,
So
like
good.
the
Dude,
elephant
Prowler's theme is
noise
sick too.
backwards.
Oh
I
my
loved it.
gosh.
And then when he
Yeah.
goes to the group of
Oh.
Spider-Man, he said, "My uncle's a prowler." They even made fun of it with Spider-Man Noir going, "This is one heck of a backstory." Like, you know, so it's like they acknowledge.
No, I completely agree. That movie is just I think it's probably the best Marvel Universe movie ever made, I think. Like
Yeah.
just in general.
I completely agree.
There's definitely movies that are like a little bit behind it to me, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I do think that it is just
Yeah.
like the best in Marvel universe of Marvel characters. I think it is the best.
I'm guessing that was at your
the
number
best
1 or
movie
2.
based on those characters. That was at like number. Well, like I said, so I had like 2 above the rest, and then the other like I can't really rank between them. But that was in the 2 above the rest. But
I have a strong
I think I'd
feeling
probably
know
put
what
it 2
is.
behind my number 1, which you probably know what it is. But yeah.
I think we're
Do you
good
want to
with
jump into that, or are we good with Spider-Verse?
if you have not
It's a
watched
phenomenal
it,
movie. I completely agree.
I know.
I
It's
completely agree.
if you haven't watched it,
I'm so
what are you
excited for
doing?
2.
Like,
Yeah,
dude,
I've probably
so
seen it at least 5 times at this point.
yeah.
Maybe like 6. It's so good. Yeah, you guys gotta watch it. Like,
Yeah.
and I hope 2 is just as good. Like, I guess one last thing I want to add too is like so many like
Mhm.
superhero movies or even just movies in general
Mm.
passionless. Like you can
Mhm.
tell when there's just the people don't really care what they're making. This movie felt like because everything just felt intentional and like you could
Dude,
see like the
it was
love
like
that was put into it and the
the
passion that was put in, like all of the work
the
that was
animation
put in to
alone,
make the
I think
movie.
the
And
crew
that's
was
what I
like
think makes it
180
so
people or
incredible.
something like that, and it took them like 5 years to animate it all. It's that detailed. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
you can
Yes.
I agree. You can definitely
Yes.
see
It is
the amount of
beautiful.
love that has gone into that. And like I think that
Yes.
um with comic book movies, you definitely want to make the characters as similar to their comic book adaptation as possible. But with this, they made the perfect changes to Miles Morales to make him just a phenomenal character. And like, because like in the comics, I don't think anyone's favorite Spider-Man was Miles Morales. But after this, I legitimately think there's a
probably
ton
not.
of people that have grown to see him as their favorite. And I mean, he's
Yeah.
100%.
After that, plus the
It's so
video
good.
game,
I
like
absolutely
definitely.
love what they did to make his character just feel right. Old fat Peter Parker just felt kind of right. It was great. Anime
Yes.
Spider Girl.
Yes.
Yeah, phenomenal movie. Peter Parker.
That was nice.
Again, perfect
Peter
casting with John
Porker.
Mulaney.
Peter Porker.
It is so, dude. It is so good.
Great.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys haven't seen it,
It's
you go
peak.
watch it. Just go watch it. Like, there's no point. But yeah, well, I'll give it into my number 1 comic book movie, which you already know what it is. It's The Dark Knight. Like, for me, it's just overall, just because I like the characters better than Spider-Man is the only reason I'm ranking it above Into the Spider-Verse. Not saying that it's objectively a better movie. I'm just saying personally, I like it more, and I rewatch it literally every 6 months. It is probably in my top 2 favorite movies of like all time. Almost like it is absolutely phenomenal. Because for me, like I would rank it like easily a 9 out of 10 because casting, like I mean Heath Ledger, it has to be one of the best performances of all time. Like I don't know, like no, there's barely any performances that I can think of that were just felt that right and that perfect.
It was hated so
And
much.
I mean, I love Batman. I think he's just a dope ass character. Yeah, which is just which makes no sense.
How I said that
that movie for me is
my
just
top
so
2
good.
movies were
So
tied for
good.
first, and Spider-Verse had a slight edge. Number 2 is The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I think 86.
Yeah.
There's some
What
flaws
was
that
that
I
your
have
percentage?
issues with, like Christian Bale, such
Yeah,
a
okay.
phenomenal Bruce Wayne with things like do you think I should go to a hospital when like the hospitals had to be evacuated because of the bombs? Like stuff like that, perfect. But his Batman in this movie just kind of like I don't know. Like, it just didn't feel right. It felt kind of mid to me. Yeah.
No, it definitely felt forced, I think, was the issue. Was that a lot of things felt that he was like too,
to me, he
too
felt
Batman-y, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
obsessed
too
with Rachel,
idealistic,
which Maggie
I guess is the right
Gyllenhaal
word.
pisses me off. Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably that's probably the worst part of the movie. Thankfully,
spoilers.
Christopher Nolan realized it too and killed her off.
To a 12-year-old movie.
Oh, sorry. Whatever, 14-year-old movie. Oh, my bad. But yeah, I mean, I love like Chicago worked well, like perfect for it. Like I loved it. Obviously, I'm going to be biased in that regard, but like that worked well. The practical effects were just so good, like blowing up the hospital, the semi truck flip during the chase scene. Like the practical effects are just, I don't even know. I can't think of very many movies that can even come close to that. Joker, obviously brilliant, like just so good. I really liked all the beginning stuff of them getting what was his name, Lau, I think,
and then it
like
is
Asian banker dude who controlled the mob's money. I think it's Lau, and
he's
him, like kidnapping him, like that
asleep
was
and has
sick
a
with the
tape, the
plane
liver
and
to
everything.
Harvey
Like
Dent.
that was just so cool, so cool. Yeah, like just everything felt so cool, so right. Because like the start of the movie, it felt like it's like, oh yeah, Batman's doing Batman things, right? He's cleaning shit up, everything's looking good, and then you just throw in Heath Ledger Joker, like
I feel
just literal
like what
perfection.
also makes this movie better,
and then it makes the movie
it's
better,
like the
which is just
Empire Strikes
insane.
Back of this trilogy, where that the hero loses. He doesn't. Batman does not win.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, Joker literally wins. Batman has to like basically sacrifice
which in
being
turn
Batman
allows
just to uphold a lie, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Which ends up
so good.
fucking
I
up.
absolutely adore
Dark
that
Knight
movie.
Rises, yeah.
I think the plot and like Joker and Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne are really what bring it up. And then like the cinematography and soundtrack are both really good, and the Gotham looks really good. But if I may go into my number 3, the Batman just has a better Gotham, it has better practical effects, and a better Batman. I think it's better because
practical effects,
but like the car,
that one I would
actually
disagree with.
went.
The other two, definitely.
It actually went through an explosion.
The car's
Batman
better.
actually
the
like
car's
they actually hooked him up to a cable to bring him up the GCPD in that one scene. I put the Batman at an 81.
And the escape.
It is so close to the Dark Knight. It is so close.
Okay. So I would. So that's not on my list at all. And I like the movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a really good movie. And it's definitely worth a watch.
Really?
But for me, I still think Batman Begins is better. But that's only because, and that's not even on, Batman Begins is not on my list either. So these are, neither of them are on my list. But for me, the Batman, I rewatched it again since it's on HBO, and I liked it. I still liked it, but I liked it definitely a little bit less the second time because rewatching it, the the runtime, I definitely felt more. Like, the pacing definitely felt really, like, a lot more off than it did in the theater. Because in the theater, you know, I'm seeing Robert Pattinson, Batman, I was just, like, hyped. So, like, the pacing didn't really it wasn't very noticeable to me. It definitely felt a lot more noticeable the second time. And I really just didn't care for
I agree.
kind of
I
the
think the
villains.
acting was
I
really good.
really
I
just
like the
didn't care for
Penguin.
them.
I thought
I
Colin
didn't
Farrell was
like them too
really good as the
much.
Penguin. And
Yeah, yeah. I liked him, but I'm saying, like, you know, the main villains were kind of like
the
Riddler,
Riddler.
who was just kind of,
Yeah.
you know, like, kind of
It's
fell
like
off at the end. He turned into a Reddit mod or a 4chan
for
Tumblr
me,
poster, and
the
then
acting was 10 out of
Falcone
10,
was
but
just
the
kind of,
characters were like 8 out of
I didn't
10.
really like him too much.
Like
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I definitely
a
think,
little
like,
flat.
all the actors did really good jobs,
Yeah.
but I just think the characters were just kinda weird, or I just didn't really care that much. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't care at all about the whole, like, Falcone is Catwoman's dad or whatever. Like, I didn't care,
It
you
was
know what I mean?
in
Like, it
a
just felt
popular
like a
comic. It was
random
in
kinda
Hush.
extra thing to add, but
Um
it just didn't really much. Yeah,
yeah.
I get that as a tie, but it seems like it just
It
felt like they spent too much time on it in the
the
movie, you know what I mean?
the
Like,
runtime
it
is
didn't
another
really
thing that held it down for
much.
me. But like going back to what we said about Spider-Verse feeling like a passion
Mhm.
project, I feel like these other two, the Dark Knight and the Batman, are both they definitely feel you can feel the passion behind both of
Yeah.
those two. They they really
Yeah.
are.
And what I like too is they're
I
such
100%
different
agree. And I
Batman
do not
movies,
I
but they're
again
both
don't think that
really
the
good.
Batman's better than the Dark Knight, but I do think that the sequel that they recently announced is in pre-production. I do think it can be better.
Mhm.
It has that setup that because
Mhm.
like that and yeah, it's like, is that going to be an easy
Yeah,
task?
I mean, it really does have
Yeah,
potential.
I
I
think they're going
think,
to end
yeah,
up
if they
going with
can
Mr.
nail a
Freeze.
really good villain, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a very hard task
No, impossible. Oh, it's such a hard task.
since
Ooh, that
since
could
he
be
was Arnold
cool.
Schwarzenegger
That would be
going, you
cool.
need
We
to
haven't seen
cool
Mr.
off.
Freeze in a while. Yes, sir.
People want
You need to
I actually
cool
am one
off.
of the people that
Oh,
also agree that
that was so
I can't
cheesy. I
remember the
loved it.
guy's name, but he's the villain in Mandalorian. And he's in The Boys. Um gosh. Yeah,
Oh,
he would be a great Mr. Freeze.
yeah, in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think
what
he
is
would be
his
a
name?
phenomenal Mr. Freeze. Like the
Oh,
casting would
I'll
just
look
kind
it
of
up real
feel
quick.
right.
Keep going.
Um yeah. There we go.
Yeah,
Um
Giancarlo Esposito.
he would just be great. I mean, the voice feels right,
Esposito.
the looks look right, it would be great. And I think that it very difficult
Mhm.
task to top the Dark Knight, but it can be done.
Yeah,
It can be done.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely potential. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, like, I agree with you. I think Robert Pattinson's Batman is just incredible. Like, probably the best Batman I've seen. One thing I guess I didn't like about it is that he really didn't do too much.
Yeah,
Like,
he
you know
solved
what I
the
mean? Like, the plot
puzzles, but
kind of was
like the
just
Riddler left
unfolding
the
because of the
puzzles for
Riddler.
him.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the puzzles, yeah, and,
Because
like, the
he'll just
puzzles were
kill.
kinda like
Yeah,
it doesn't
he'll just kill
really
someone
matter if
else,
he solved
and then
them,
he'd have to solve
like, too
that
much.
puzzle.
Like, just things were kinda just
Um,
advancing.
but like I
Yeah,
think that was the thing. He doesn't want any more people to die.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
That's why they were all just, why they were unfolding in front of him, kind of. But yeah, the fact that I talked to my dad about it, he's like, Robert Pattinson's the worst Batman. It's like, really? Yeah, it's like, really. I wanted to be
I
like
thought he
L
was
plus
really,
ratio,
really good Batman.
but like, it's like, really, you think he's worse than George Clooney and Ben Affleck and Val Kilmer?
True.
Like, yeah. He's probably my favorite Batman. His Bruce Wayne has yet to be developed, but
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, yeah, I thought.
It's a personality that
Yeah,
doesn't
the
exist
Bruce
yet.
Wayne was kind
Yeah,
of
I get
weird,
that.
but like I kind of get it. Like, it makes sense. Definitely. Yeah. So it's like that has to be
Yeah, exactly.
developed. So that might be a strong suit
Yeah.
in the sequel. Like that could be definitely something that they work on and make better.
Hmm.
Because yeah, like
And
going back
then
to Dark Knight, I
watching,
agree. I think Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne was like perfect.
if
It
you've
was really,
watched
really
Tenet, which I'm pretty
good.
sure we watched it together,
But yeah, I definitely think Robert
you
Pattinson's Batman was so good,
Robert Pattinson can
so
definitely
good.
look like like a Bruce Wayne persona and pull that off.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely. Like he
yeah.
could definitely
I
pull
think
it
that's a
off. It
sequel thing,
just
but yeah, I agree.
they just need to develop his
Um,
character in that way,
what did
and
you
I
put
hope they do.
as
I
your
really hope
number
they do.
3? Or you don't have him in ranked,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just go in order of what I have written down. So these aren't really ranked as like I
Mm-hmm.
like one over the other. These are just other comic book inspired movies that I like a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna just throw out. This is kind of like the oddball one that I wrote
Oh,
down, but that is technically based off a
Scott
comic book.
Pilgrim
Is Scott
versus
Pilgrim versus the World, where it's not a
the
superhero
World is
movie, but it's
pretty
based on
peak.
a
Not
book.
gonna
So
lie.
that's the only reason it's here. Yeah, because like I mean, like
Yeah.
the Edgar Wright like cinematography and like all the cuts they're just awesome, right? It is such an enjoyable movie to watch. The soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah.
Really the only gripes I
Uh,
have with it are like kind of a few characters and just like
yeah.
a few weird plot things, that I just are like jokes and type things that I just didn't think land that well.
I
But
think,
it's
yeah.
like it's a great movie.
I think the
I
things that
watch it pretty
hold it
often and
down
I enjoy it every
are,
time.
like you had
It's
said,
really
some
fun.
issues with the
Really
plot and
fun
some of the
movie.
characters. And then like other than like the comic effects that they add in their shots, the
Mhm.
cinematography isn't that great. It's pretty stale. But yeah, it's like it's not none of those things are bad, but they're not
Mhm.
great. They're just kind of average. Um yeah.
Well, I guess what I should say is like the
Hmm.
cinematography and like the action scenes is whatever, but like the
Yeah.
cuts. I love Edgar Wright's cuts. Like just the jump
Oh,
cuts
dude, that
where it's a
was
different
so
scene
funny.
where
He
it's like,
is
Scott Pilgrim
is
like
Scott
jumping
in?
out of the window to escape knives and it just like cuts. It's
Yeah.
like it's the same with Edgar Wright's
Dude,
other movies, like
yeah.
Shaun of the Dead and like that whole trilogy where
You
like
just
I
reminded
love
me of
those
one of my
movies, but
like
that's just
favorite
'cause I
scenes in
really
any
like
movie with the
Edgar's Wright's jumps
is
cuts. I think they're
is
really well
Scott in?
written.
He just jumps through the window. He just left.
Mhm. Is Scott in? He just left. Oh, but yeah, like when you said comic book movies, like
Yeah, it is.
obviously, you think of superheroes first, but that was like another movie that came up where I'm like, this is a comic book
Yeah,
movie.
that's probably
So that's why I wanted to throw it in
it's
here because
definitely a top
it's
10
just a
for me.
movie that I really enjoyed and is one of my favorite movies that
It is
was,
great.
started as a comic.
Number 4, I have this is an odd
Yeah,
one, and
really
this is
good.
not one that I would
What do you have next?
expected. We have another tie between 4th and 5th. 4th getting a slight edge is The Suicide Squad by
Yeah.
James Gunn.
Okay.
Yeah. I have it at 79. The
newer one, yeah,
costuming
okay.
I just find to be great. How cheesy and straight out of a comic book they are. The acting is phenomenal with Idris Elba and I can't remember her name, but Amanda Waller, Margot Robbie, obviously. John Cena is surprisingly really good as Peacemaker. Yeah,
Yeah, that was really surprising to me. I did not think
exactly.
John.
And then
You don't think of John Cena as
Sylvester
like a good
Stallone
actor, but
as
like
King
I thought he
Shark.
pulled it off really well. That was surprising to me.
It's just great. It's great casting. The plot
Yeah.
is fun,
Good.
but it has like that dark twist of like government, government doing evil things at the end. So it's like
It
it's
definitely has its issues.
yeah, it's like
Mhm.
it's very typical, but like everything leading up
Government
to that
bad.
is like
Yeah,
simple to
it's
the
very
point,
overused.
good. And then like the first like 10 minutes, the other group of the Suicide Squad, just all expectations being subverted, and they just get massacred. It
Yeah. I mean, my main gripe is kind of like, yeah, mostly I just didn't really care for the plot too much.
yeah,
Like, I
government
just
bad
don't
twist.
care about like
Yeah,
oh, it's just government bad. Like, it just didn't feel like I was
but
that invested in it, and like I
don't
didn't
act
really
like
care. I wish it was just like a new villain or
Weasel
something
doesn't make
different.
up for
I think that
that.
would be more fun for me. But yeah, that kind of like fell flat really.
Weasel actually is
Well,
the
I mean,
only
like Weasel's
character
the
ever
greatest
that
character in
manages to beat Ian
cinematic
Hawke
history,
from
easily.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, and he never loses. He said it himself. He said it to Dave. Yeah, I was not expecting it to be that far up there. Like I
True.
thought it was probably a top 10 for me because it's really enjoyable, but like it was a lot more enjoyable than I expected. I wasn't thinking it'd be above like Infinity War or like Logan, but it pulled it off.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's not on my list, but it was definitely one that I was considering. It's one of those that just kind of like fell right outside of like what I think is like the best.
Yeah.
But it was still, yeah, a really good movie, easily, like probably a 7 out of 10 for me, just on a basic scale.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree. I think the casting was pretty much perfect.
I know.
Yeah, I wish we could have seen, Pete Davidson some more, and Weasel. Like, come on, man. Why does Weasel only get like 3 minutes of
literally would have just
screen
killed
time?
everyone.
I mean, the movie would just be
Another
over
one,
if he showed up though, because he solos. So
dude, true. He was alive.
I guess there would be no
in the post
plot, but
credits.
give me
So,
Weasel's
but,
standalone film, and
another thing that kind of bummed me out is that Captain Boomerang was like one of the best parts of the first movie when the first movie sucked. So like I wish he would have survived, but I know that they really wanted to like really iterate that anyone can die in this movie,
and
they want to show that early on. But it's like still, wish he didn't. But yeah, the plot, and then that Weasel not being able to swim, they nerfed him unnecessarily. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. What do you got next up?
Yeah, fake nerf. But yeah, really good movie. Okay, next movie. These two, we'll go back and forth, of course, but I think my next two are pretty much equally ranked. But I think my favorite MCU movie, so not Spider-Verse, is Infinity War to me. I just thought like watching it, it just felt so good. It felt right. It felt right to see them lose, right? Like that felt it was so different. we basically like have never seen that, and
Mhm.
the ending was just like I don't know if I've ever really felt that way in another movie at the ending. Like it just felt so good. Like to see them lose. As weird as that sounds, right? It just like it felt right. Like that Thanos just wins. And it just felt good. And I thought, the rest of the movie was great, like bringing all of these characters
Yeah.
Together, especially coming off Age of Ultron, which was, pretty weak Avengers movie. And then well, Captain
Yeah.
America Civil War is basically an Avengers movie. And that one was pretty good too. Outside of it's outside of my list, but it was pretty good. But, this it's like coming back and then being just really good. I thought they did pretty much most of the characters really well. There's only like a few like gripes I have with just
Yeah.
like, but mostly it's just plot issues with
True.
having all the Infinity Stones. It's overpowered, right? Like it doesn't actually make sense when you think about it. But I just thought like overall enjoyment and it just felt different. It felt like the most different MCU movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I thought
I
they
agree. It's
executed it
definitely up
really
there for
well.
me. I put
Yeah,
it at a
I don't think I've enjoyed
77%.
an MCU movie as much as it.
It's definitely enjoyable. I have some issues with it. But yeah, overall it's really enjoyable. It's definitely one of the
Yeah.
better MCU
Yeah, it's like an
movies.
8 out of 10 for me, definitely.
Um
Mhm,
it
mhm.
honestly, it's some of the
What are your
characters really get like
issues?
no time to, because like the movie's about Thanos, and I know that and I understand that. But like, yes, I think like Captain America
Mhm.
has like what 4 minutes of screen time in it, something like,
Yeah.
and it's not just him, but like a lot of the characters have no time, and it's like they all have been developed, so
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
afford that, but still, those are the characters that people are
Mhm,
coming to see. You
mhm.
know what I mean? Um, that's really the big, and then like the MCU standard cinematography of like the mid
Yeah.
shot of a face of
Mhm.
people talking and just jumping from one to the other, one to the other. Some like iffy CGI, but like other than that, like yeah, the story's really good. Characters are all signature
Yeah.
great characters, but yeah, those things kind of hold it down for me.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. That's why, it's not like a league above the other ones, but it's
Yeah,
still, like I said, probably there's only one other MCU movie, which
yeah,
I'll get to,
it's definitely a very solid one. I can
next or
understand why
whatever.
it'd be people's
But
favorites.
I think it's probably my favorite MCU movie thus far.
Yep, this is number 5. Um, okay, when I
So,
said
what do
that
you
it
got?
was going to be Spider-Man
This
No
is number
Way Home,
5,
right?
right? Tied for
Uh,
or whatever, like tied
Mainly
for
because of
5th. Yeah.
that third act and because of Green Goblin. So like the characters really bring it through. But I sat and I thought
Mhm.
about it, and actually there's one MCU film that I think goes
Sure.
above that, and that is Captain America: The
Mhm.
Winter Soldier. Ah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's my next movie.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yep. That's
Winter
what I have
Soldier's
tied, like pretty
probably
much tied
around
with
like
Infinity
No
War
Way
for me
Home in
of like the best
enjoyability and
MCU
stuff,
movies.
but No Way Home is really, it is just that end, like the third act and Green Goblin. That is what carries it. Winter Soldier is all around good to decent. Like there's nothing bad about
Yeah.
it.
No, def
Like
Yep. Yep. I completely agree. Yeah, it's like No Way Home just felt kind of like Endgame to me, right? Where it's like it was really can go back.
yeah, but the thing is
And I'm
with
like, the
that,
movie,
that is
and then,
another like
the whole Hydra
stereotypical bad
element, like,
government
that was
thing
just really
for me.
cool, and I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. So like the plot I give like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's
Like
just
really
government
nothing is
secretly
lower than a
bad.
7 out of 10. Like it's all 7s to 9s for me. It's like a really
Yeah, I think it's had my favorite action of any MCU movie too, just because it felt like it was,
true.
it wasn't like crazy Captain Marvel, turning into a beam of light, exploding the universe. Like it wasn't, it's just Captain
Mhm.
America, right? He's not like
Plus
he
like
doesn't
that
have
Winter
crazy
Soldier
superpowers.
theme
Like it just
of
felt
like
like a more
the high tension, just like
grounded movie,
like
I guess, if that
horror
makes sense.
noise of when Winter Soldier's
More
doing
grounded
something.
than it can
It
be.
that
Yeah.
it it feels like Prowler to me from
Yes.
Spider-Verse.
Yes. Yeah, you just feel like it's like,
It's
"Holy shit."
so
You're like,
good.
"Somebody's gonna die, bro." Like, it just feels dread.
It really
Yeah.
does.
No, exactly, yeah.
And like yeah,
Yeah.
like I had said,
It,
it
like, it
from
instills that
start to
sense of
finish,
dread in
it
you,
is
and I love it.
overall
So
it
good.
doesn't have those high impact like let's goes like and having Andrew Garfield and like Tobey Maguire, but like it's thoroughly more entertaining. There's not like those boring moments or like the Scooby Doo this shit or the like
Yeah, and
why didn't Peter Parker's smart enough to figure out how to like hack Doc Ock's
yeah.
arms and then like figure out a cure and stuff for all of them, but he can't think, let me just ask to wish that that have a spell that made everyone forget Mysterio. Like it like stuff like that, it makes it very questionable. Some of the CGI
Yeah.
bad, 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 bad.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kinda like, "Oh, okay."
yeah, but the music and for No Way Home and stuff, the music is super
Mhm.
good. That
Yeah.
third act is really good. Willem Dafoe, as per usual, phenomenal. His "I'm something of a scientist myself" carries the second act. Yeah. Oh yeah, peak fan service, but like
Yeah,
not
no,
peak story.
the fan service was just it was good. It was
So
good.
yeah, Winter Soldier just kind of
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yes, yeah.
yeah,
Like, fan service can't alone carry a movie. Now, I was just talking
yeah.
to a friend actually about No Way Home. Sorry, just one more thing about No Way Home. But I was just talking to
It's
a friend, and he was
so
like that
awkward.
he was just rewatching it, right?
It's
Like, just, by himself. He's like, when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire come up, he's like, just I wasn't that excited. He's like, yeah, he's like, I wasn't really that. He's
dude,
like in the
it's
theater.
like
It was like
have you
awesome
seen
because everybody's like, let's
the like
go. This is awesome.
Big
And
Bang
he's
Theory
like,
but
he's
with
just
no
watching at
laugh
home. It's
track?
like, oh,
That's what it felt
like
like.
okay. Like you just kind of
That's
same.
what it feels like. It's so awkward when Andrew Garfield's like, "Okay." It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, where it's like it's just the movie is just not going to
exactly.
be nearly as good as it is the first time you watch it in a
Yeah.
theater. Like, it will never be that good again. Where and that's why I can't put it as one of the best. Where I can put something, like Infinity War or Winter Soldier, because those are
Mm.
movies that Infinity War a little bit less so than Winter Soldier, but
Mhm.
Winter Soldier, like I can watch that and I'm like, this is just an enjoyable movie. Even like non-Marvel fans, I feel like can like that movie. It's like you don't really need to be a huge Marvel fan. Like it's just a fun movie,
Yeah.
great action,
I feel like
pretty just decent all the way through. Like there's
especially like when you kind
very
of go back
little
and look
wrong
at
with it.
No Way Home, it for me, it's like Willem Dafoe and Andrew Garfield are the people who carried it. Like Andrew Garfield was phenomenal in it. Um, Tobey Maguire as per usual is like
Mhm.
classic, but like
Yeah,
I think Andrew Garfield did better in it. He seemed like he
definitely.
wanted to be there more, and like the chemistry between the three Spider-Men was really enjoyable. But again, third act, it you made me wait. You made me
Yeah, I
wait
agree.
2 hours to see this. So
No, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Made
and
me
then
wait for
Captain
2
America
hours
when
of kind of
he
just
fights
meh, like decent for
the French dude
some
in like the
sauce, you
first
know.
10 minutes. And the guy says, "I thought you were more than just a shield," and he drops it and takes the helmet off and fist fights him. Oh my, it's so good. Winter Soldier is just like, yeah, it's more of a beginning to end. You don't
Yeah.
have to wait for the epic.
Yeah, it's sick. It's sick. Winter Soldier's just sick. Mm.
Oh my,
Yeah, that's why I like it's
oh,
consistent
or
throughout, you know. You have
when
like
Cap
and
goes to
then Winter
throw the
Soldier
shield
and
and he
his
just
theme
turns
throughout the
and
whole
catches
middle.
it.
And like he comes in and he's just fucking shit up.
It's like,
Like
oh,
it's sick.
so good. it
He
would,
just oh, that was naughty. That was naughty. Like I felt the
it
same
was so
like
good.
oh my god.
That's a good one.
You know, yeah, no, that it was just it felt so crazy.
Yeah, it's
Because at that moment you're
great
like,
movie.
holy shit,
Absolutely
like
great
this
movie.
guy's a beast. It was it's really good. Um, but yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
pretty much yeah. I
yeah.
think between the
I
two of us, that's pretty much like my favorite movies based off comic books or comic book movies. You know, obviously, like a
yeah,
couple that are like a
exactly.
little bit outside, like Logan, I think is really good.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, like,
Agreed.
you know, it's always gonna have a place in my heart just because that's a Spider-Man, you know, we grew up with and stuff. Like that's always gonna have a place in my heart. And then, you know, there's a few other like Iron Man 1, a couple other MCU movies that I think are really good. Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
Guardians 1. Like I think there's a lot of other good ones, but I think the ones we listed are just kind of just have something like better about them, right? Are just they're not carried by just a third act or carried
Yeah,
by, you know, a lot of like funniness or just carried by
yeah, that's
characters. Like these
exactly
are
how I kind of
very
feel. It's
solid
like they're all
movies in
just
almost every category.
like Guardians
And so they
has
definitely,
like
you know,
some of
are
those
in kind of
cheesy
the book.
moments or like the but it's like overall still really enjoyable. Um and then same with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Mhm.
The dialogue and a lot of the acting is so cheesy and bad, but that's why they're so good. Yeah, exactly. Especially like Spider-Man 3, like
It's like, yeah, you like
Spider-Man 3 is like a
you
prime
can't really hate
example of
them.
that
Like
because like
it's good to love
awful.
them, you know?
It
Like
is
they're not gonna
objectively
be
just
perfect. Oh
absolutely
yeah, exactly.
awful, but it,
Mhm.
it's exactly. It's like a guilty pleasure to
Yeah,
love that. To absolutely love it.
but it's still so enjoyable.
Yeah.
No, it feels like Kung Fury to me, you know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. For Kung Fury, it's like, you know, it's not serious, like, you can't you know, you're not gonna rank it as one of the best movies ever made, but, like, it is such a fun movie to watch, like, it's so dumb,
Exactly.
but it's so fun, like, it's just
Yeah,
goofy, and it's just fun, and that's just yeah, Sam
those movies
Raimi's
are definitely like
trilogy,
top
that's
10s for me.
exactly
Not
how it
Kung
feels
Fury,
like.
but like Spider-Man 2.
Mm,
Infinity War was in there. Scott Pilgrim. That's kind of how I feel about Scott Pilgrim. It's like really cheesy,
mm.
but it's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, there's other movies that are like that for me too, that are just it. I hate that I love them,
Mhm.
but I absolutely love them. But yeah, I I think that's just about it for that. I
Mhm.
don't think there's a ton of movies. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much closes it off. Yeah, I definitely think, like, yeah, like, Into the Spider-Verse
100%.
and The Dark Knight are just 2 movies that I think are just a
100%.
league above the rest, just are incredible movies, and then, you know, the rest of what we listed is they're very good watches.
Yeah.
Like, every movie we've talked about is something that I think most people
Yeah, those are
can
if you have
watch
not
and
watched
definitely
them,
enjoy, and
what
then, you know, Dark
exactly
Knight
are
and
you doing with
Spider-Verse
your
are just
life?
incredible movies that I think everyone should watch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go watch Multiverse of Mid instead.
Yeah,
I mean,
those are like
madness.
clear your fucking plans for tonight and watch the movie. Like, what are you doing?
You have to buy it. You have to buy or rent it.
Can you watch Is Spider-Verse on? What is it on? Yeah, that's what I thought. Because it used to be on something.
HBO Max.
It used to be on Netflix for a little bit. And then I know you can watch. Is The Dark Knight still on Netflix? I know it's on. Yeah, I know it's on HBO Max. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore.
Gosh, dude, I'm trying to find where I wrote down.
But yeah, it's on HBO Max.
The list of things we're doing for.
But yeah, so yeah,
episodes.
Definitely watch.
Trying to find next week's. Yeah, all right, sweet.
Oh yeah, next week's topics. Don't worry, I'll keep them occupied while you look. So guys, how's your day going? Is it going good? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, tell me more about that. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, Moon Knight. Yeah, that was pretty decent, wasn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Which one are you talking about here?
Wow. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that comic book movie.
That one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Yeah, that one was good.
Crazy.
I'll find it later. I don't have to find it on stream. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Or on a podcast.
I can't buy more time.
I'll find it eventually.
You could.
Yeah,
it's fine. Hey, whatever. So, I know we mentioned it last week too, so just go back if you guys are really curious. But hey, thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fun to talk about non-sports, for the most part, sports, but kind of like nerd out about stuff.
This was definitely like, round two. Yep, and then after that, I think it's back to baseball.
Oh, it's like NBA playoffs, round 2. I know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if we had another one. We'll probably get another subtopic of NBA playoffs, but yeah, that is what next week's was. So we'll be back to that. But yeah, we'll definitely keep doing more
games, stuff like that.
Jumping back to other entertainment things, different maybe movie genres or other series and stuff. Jump into. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I guess watching too if you're on YouTube.
Appreciate you guys
tuning in. Yep. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you next week for some NBA playoffs.